Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday 28th of January. So the big thing is on DeepSeek, it seems that's certainly moving the equity markets, and AI technology cheaper than the US counterparts, and by the sounds of it, very, very good and very easy to use, I'm told. So I will have a look when I can log in, but it has got a sign on it at the moment, so you can't use it. Anyway, whether it's useful for us for coding, I mean, one thing with ChatGPT, you could actually code some of your software and signals for TradingView, etc. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on. I'll give it a go at some point. Let's look at the technicals then today. So that's obviously moving the equities market, or affected the equities market quite largely, particularly with Nvidia. Aside of that then today, January 28th, I'm just looking to see what we got. Okay. In terms of speakers, it doesn't seem to be any speakers there, so I'll come back over to this version and look. Core durable goods at 130. It's not clear of this. Yep, that's really a Richmond index, maybe consumer confidence there at 3 o'clock. Okay, so not a great deal today. Bank holiday in China. What's that for? What are they doing? Spring Festival. That's a week. Right, so Spring Festival week. Let's get on and look at the markets then. Now, due to Trump saying, talking about tariffs everywhere, I should have mentioned that when I was looking at news. Now the dollar's taken a bit of a surge again. So we're sitting here looking at the likes of the euro here. It was looking decentish yesterday. It didn't draw me in too much. It did push up a little bit, and that in the second session, I say second session, from 10 o'clock it pushed up through. Well, actually, it started going at 9. It went quite quickly. Put actually a bit of a pivot swing in there and pushed up. Came short of its S1. This is why when days when you've got broader pivots, you should be maybe targeting a little bit underneath there. That got up to 34, and where was the pivot sitting at the time? Yeah, that was 38.5. So it's quite a miss there, really. But you have got to be careful. The previous day's highs are always a better target in those cases when it's had a reasonable pullback. Anyway, looking at today, it's looking. I mean, we're consolidating around the low of the Asian session move there. Whether this will continue to consolidate or start moving back up, we'll see. If it continues to consolidate, I assume that we might see more downside later. But it's not a nice trading point from here. I don't particularly want to get into a trade at this stage on the euro dollar. The pound, well, this looks weaker and it's already sort of going. It did have a solidish day yesterday. Air kissed the 50 MA, the daily 50. Again, that was relatively early-ish in the day there, but nowhere near its S1. R1, beg your pardon. And heading today at the moment. Sorry, yesterday it went right the way through. What am I talking about? All the way through to its R3 actually in the evening there. Quite a correction. But now it's heading at the moment back to its daily pivot. Now, if this was anything significant or real strength in this move, we should, if it gets back towards the pivot, we could see a bounce off that pivot. It could provide sufficient support along with the 34 that's sitting there at the moment. We'll see what happens with that, but I'm not holding my breath on it. There's a little tiny bit of divergence probably across the top on the lower time frames, and sorry, that's the weekly pivot I'm looking at there, not even the daily pivot. Here we go, there's the daily pivots. Brains are not in gear today. This is so on the shorter time frame here, it's actually put a lower high in. So looking soft. Sorry, that was the 4-hour picture I was looking at there. So this is the weekly pivot it could be heading back to. As I said, this could still provide us some support. So the picture's the same, it's just the time frame's different. Okay, but it might be looking soft on the way down there. As I said, there will be some divergence on most things. If I can double click on there quick enough, there we go. There's the divergence on the MACD there between the two highs. A break of the low between the two highs then is really what you're looking for a continuation of that. Right, moving on. Dollar yen, it's up nearly 1% today. I left this untouched yesterday with stop untouched, etc. I'm sort of glad I did, but whether or not I should just close out of this, it doesn't seem to be rattling particularly well. It started off well yesterday. It might be that it's just not going to do it. I will take a review of it. Things have changed slightly since I originally looked at the trade. I've sat in it for a week, it seems, or pretty much nearly a week. When was it? It was Thursday I took it, beg pardon. Not quite a week ago, Thursday. So I'm going to say it's over a week I've held on to it at the moment, but not really going anywhere. And perhaps with the Trump effect, it might be just better closing it off. Aussie dollar, now this is looking quite nice on the downside here. It's continued its downward route. It's with tariffs and things like this, it never fits well because the tie-up with China, etc., is too strong, and well, we could be seeing more downside there. Yesterday afternoon it really went from 1 o'clock-ish time, and is certainly looking on the softer side. It has moved a long way, particularly at 11 o'clock last night. I assume that's when Trump spoke. Which, don't forget, that's 6 o'clock UK time, so or equivalent to 6 o'clock in the US, sorry, Eastern time, 6 o'clock-ish. Right, Canadian dollar remains quite awkward. I'll just leave that alone. New Zealand dollar, very similar to the Australian dollar here. In fact, it's often the weakest, so it might have the better opportunity. Ideally, I'd be looking for this to break its 4-hourly 50 to be playing it back to the downside. The gap up there that was there from Sunday night is remaining for now, so it's looking quite soft where it is. US dollar Swissy, just a quick look at the Swissy. This is completely bounced back. We did find quite a lot of confluence here yesterday. I don't know why I was looking at this and putting the pivots on it as well. It might be I was speaking to someone else with it actually. But anyway, quite a lot of confluence there. 50% retrace. It's taken off of bouncing up at the moment. It's heading towards the upside of its downward trend, so the upper side of the channel effectively, if I extend that, there we go. So I'd watch for retracements into that. That could be interesting from that level. It's still got the 50 MA. Talk about some confluence. It's got the pivot studies. It's got the 50 MA, and it's got its trend. So see what happens if it gets back up there. So let's put some potential there. Euro yen, been using this, looking at this a lot. With the yen was softening, well, we're seeing a continuation, and well, back on the euro side of things, it might seem. So it looks a bit mucky here on the dailies, lower time frames, the hourlies. It's not really doing a great deal at the moment. It could set up for a move back to the R1. Just noticing the 50 MA just kinking up at the end there, with this bullish move just turning it around a little bit, but there's nothing immediately says it could, but it could set up towards the end of the hour and then give me an option for the next hour. We'll see. It's pretty close to being set up, but it's not quite meeting my criteria yet for looking for a long, in which case I'd be looking about 8 onwards for that. Okay, aside of that then, I haven't looked through the cross pairs. I'll look through the rest of the cross pairs in the room a short while. Aside of that then, let's just look at the usual suspects and look at gold. So if you're a gold trader, came off yesterday and is looking a little bit softer at the moment. It's still looking at the big money. The big money's still moving into it. It doesn't mean to say we should just buy it, because the big money, they've got deep pockets. They can afford to be betting on the upside of gold. We can't unless we could see decent pictures at the moment. It did a bit of a bear flag, which has gone a bit sideward. Now when you've got a consolidation not on the lows there but above the lows, you just got to be a bit careful, because it can break and continue its new route to the upside. So whereas I would normally look at something like this and think it's a flag and we might be worth trading it, it doesn't look so pretty at the moment. Looks a bit of a mess, and we've got the untouched daily pivot there. Could be drawn up there. Oil, unfortunately, this is shuffling its way back a little bit. I'm still in the money on this, and whether or not I'll give it some time, because this is one thing that Trump is very much against, is higher prices in oil. So we'll see what happens with this in the shorter time frame of schemes. I have moved my stop up to down to break even. It's up a multiple of 1.5 or something like that at the moment. I might just track the stop down a little bit. What I don't want to do is choke it out, only to see it continue through here. We've seen some sort of reasonably big-ish retracements over time here, and we can do in oil. It's before it continues its bigger picture. I'm still looking for around $70 on this, so we'll see. Okay, that's pretty much there. S&P's then off fractionally this morning, but maybe they'll start recovering at some point. I wouldn't go selling hard into these equity markets. They've done their. I was looking at it was a 10 o'clock bar yesterday. That was it, and after that it was starting to recover. Now the consolidation is around the near-term high here. This could just carry on recovering. Yeah, potential still to push on. The Dow Jones, certainly without the tech sitting in there, has continued its route yesterday. So if you're trading a Dow, this looks like a nice bull flag sitting here on the 60-minute time frame. That could be setting off at some stage. So we're not quite into all-time highs again yet, but it's pushing back towards that level. The Nasdaq is the one that the US tech is the one that's taken the biggest hit, and well, has it? It's taken some hell of a hit anyway over the last week, but even that's making a bit of a recovery. Yesterday afternoon, you've got to be careful. You don't just look at the headlines. You look at what the market's actually, look what the traders are actually doing. This is being bought again. The panic has been overdone. Anyway, there we go. So if you're looking at those markets, that's fine. Finally, the FTSE, what's the FTSE up to this morning? It's off a bit at the moment. Well, not a big shock there, but yesterday, perhaps the lack of tech, as the tech world moves away from the FTSE to the US markets, we're seeing the FTSE a bit more shielded by it. We'll see, but for now, well, this looks looking like it's turning the corner on the lower time frames here. This could post 8 o'clock be a possibility. Well, it's in the 8 o'clock bar now, but give it a bit of time. This could be a possibility of a bit more of a push to the upside as we run through the morning. The DAX still sitting not far from its all-time new highs. Again, it's looking like it's trying to do something here. So all the equity markets are making sort of moves to the upside from the sell-off, and have some scope. We saw the gap filled on eventually there on the DAX. Maybe the other markets will all join force and do the same. We'll see. But for now, looking much more positive. Right, okay, on that note, I'm going to wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Take care. Have a good one. Bye for now.